Whenever.
There.
Okay.
Crazy Talks with wise people. Once again, I'd like to welcome all of you to another edition with a filmmaker this time. We have William Byron Hillman. He's the president of Destiny Worldwide Entertainment. Some of his few accomplishments is that he was able to produce 9 theatrical films. He had authored 23 novels, and he's a member of Directors Guild of America. And he's got a lot more to say about Destiny. Earlier on, he was telling me about their accomplishments, their achievements, the movies that made it worldwide, and how they're making people happy. That's why, I prepared some questions that are on the lighter side of the spectrum, not the very serious stuff about filmmaking, but his experiences, like funny experiences in the set, something like that. So that is going to be the gist. That is the gist of our podcast today. So be with us, okay?
Mhm.
Yes, William, warm welcome. You're
Thank you.
welcome to come to Scotland as well. All right.
Looks lovely from what I see through your window. It looks lovely.
Yes, it is a very lovely place. Yeah, welcome to Scotland.
Hmm. My grandfather came from Ireland, so we're
Oh,
close to neighbors.
yeah. Well, there are a lot of Americans who come over to Scotland, to Wales, and to Ireland, in search of their ancestors.
Yes, my grandmother came from Wales, and my grandfather.
Ah,
That's on one side. On the other
ah.
side, my grandfather came from Sicily, and my grandmother came from Scotland. Strangely enough,
You're
and
European blooded.
yeah, I've got a lot of European blood in me, I guess.
Hmm. All right. Tell us more about Destiny Worldwide Entertainment and some of your fabulous accomplishments in this world of filmmaking.
Well, Destiny started. We started back in the late '70s.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Made a film called The Man from Clover Grove. The Man from Clover Grove was a typical '70s humor. It was meant to just be kind of silly. Ended up with a whole lot of American television stars in it.
Excuse us. We can only see you from here, please.
Uh-oh,
Adjust your camera. There you go.
is that
Yes.
better? Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
Uh, anyway, uh, that film started a network of projects that we have developed. We've developed a lot of things over the years for other people.
Mhm.
We consult, we do a lot of things. Destiny's a kind of a rounded company that does music scores, does publishing, rewrite books, and we do movies. The movie center is primarily we like to do family stuff. We've done some thrillers like Double Exposure and The Photographer. We've done serious things uh, like Raging Cajun and Loner.
Mhm.
Um, we've done love stories like Veronica and Murray. And then we just go back to the family end of things. And Quigley with Gary Busey was an international hit that
Mhm.
we're very proud of. It's become one of the top 20 films uh, in the 20 of children family films. We're in that top 20 section there.
Mhm.
We're very proud of that movie.
Mhm.
Um, and we like our goal is to entertain, to have fun when you go to the movies. I think a lot of that's
Oh, yeah.
everyone wants to do big extravaganzas, and the studios are in a constant turmoil of making these big mega movies, and they either hit or they bomb. But the old-fashioned movie stories are missing from the theater,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
we've got a lot of things in development right now. The COVID kind of set us back, like it did everybody in the business,
Mhm.
uh, and it kind of brought everything to I don't want to call it a standstill, but it slowed
Mhm.
everything down.
Mhm.
We're now starting to pick up and gain that momentum back. And, if the economy worldwide can settle down and we
Mm.
get things back in some sort of order, then we'll start making some fun movies again. And that's our goal.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have
Why
things
not?
on
Yeah.
the where we hope to get into production in early 26.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't think we'll get ready to go into shooting in 25, but we have a lot of things in development, so it'll be fun.
I can do acting. I love acting.
Good. Okay, we'll keep you on the list.
Oh, you know what? Um, oh, this is one of my passions, acting. But yeah, in fact, I did some acting when I was, I think, in grade school. Um, but according to my parents, it's not really very financially remunerating. So I better go to business and just set aside some of my interests, on my retirement age
Well, when
for
you
a hobby.
as an actor, you can't make a lot of money as an actor. I started as an actor. I worked 19 weeks on Ice Station Zebra. And basically that's how my career started was Rock Hudson was
Mm,
an absolutely wonderful man.
mm,
He saw in me that I wanted to work behind the camera more than I wanted to work in front of the camera. And
mm,
so he kept taking me behind and introducing me to the director and to the producer and to the editor. And I
mm,
basically learned, I became an assistant behind the camera to the producers of Ice Station Zebra. That led me to my first movie, uh, what I learned while I was being an actor on Ice Station Zebra. I
mm,
did soap opera, Days of Our Lives, for a number of years. And
uh-huh,
I found I got bored because acting is, there's so many long periods of time between shooting. And I was more fascinated with how they set up a scene, how they did
yeah.
the light,
Mm,
than for the 5 minutes that you have before the camera. So my intrigue stepped behind the camera,
mm-hmm,
but I look back at Rock Hudson, and I've had some wonderful people in my life. Ronald
mm,
Reagan, who
mm.
became president, but when he was
Oh,
an actor,
Ronald. Yeah, he was an actor, right?
he was an actor and he was a friend. He got me my first agent. He was a delightful
Oh,
man,
wow.
and he was a lifesaver. And when he became governor of California, I ran into a production problem, and I called him, and he helped me out of that. Uh,
Mm,
but, it's kind of a colorful background I have because I've worked with an awful lot of wonderful people,
mm.
and over the years, it's kind of bled into what I am today.
Yes, I really believe in y um surrounding yourself with competent people,
Yeah,
because empowerment rubs off.
it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah, that's why I believe in that. Okay, well, first, funny question. What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen a celebrity do backstage?
Oh my goodness. Uh,
Aside from, like wearing makeup and all.
well, I guess if you look back, uh, I've had a couple of things. Gary Busey was really kind of a fun guy to work with when we
Mm-hmm.
did Quigley, and he pretended to in the story he's a very rich man who has an accent. He hates dogs. Then he veers out of the way on a highway to avoid running over a dog, has
Mm,
an accident, and they send him to heaven.
mm,
And heaven doesn't know what to do with him because he's this dastardly rich guy that
mm,
uh, treated everybody badly, and all he wanted
mm,
to do was make more money.
mm,
Gary, in one of the scenes, had a dog collar put on him, and
mm,
he was behaving like a dog, and we put him behind a kennel, and it
mm,
was it was a pretty funny scene. That Gary didn't appreciate it, but the audience did.
mm. Yes, that's very funny indeed. And you look like an actor, actually. Um, I just don't remember who that actor was, but can you share with us time when you were mistaken of as a huge celebrity? Because you look like one. I just forgot that
People look
actor's name.
said I look like Kenny Rogers. Other people,
Yeah, that's
other
it.
people, other people say I look like Michael McDonald.
Yeah,
The,
but you're more Kenny Rogers, actually. Did someone go run to you and ask for an autograph?
yes, many times.
Oh, what did you do?
Well, initially, my wife used to say, "Go ahead and sign the autograph. They won't know the difference." But I wouldn't do. I didn't want to do that. But and then I had the pleasure of meeting Kenny, and that was kind of an experience. So we both laughed about that. Like Michael McDonald. I've been compared to both of these men, and it's 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 an honor in a way. I can't sing, so uh, it's kind of funny. But we did talk about it. Kenny's a very nice man, or was. I don't know if he's still with us or not,
Where
but
did you meet him?
I met him on a set of a set that was being shot on a television show. A friend of mine was directing a show and invited me over. I came over and met Kenny, met a few other of his friends in the country western world. That was kind of fun.
Was that in Hollywood?
Yes, it was in Hollywood. I spent most of my life in Hollywood. We're located back to the East Coast now, but majority of my life was in Hollywood or in the surrounding area of Hollywood.
Did it influence you a lot?
I'm sorry.
Did Hollywood influence you in terms of choosing your career?
Yeah, it stained. It made my whole career. Actually, I grew up in the Midwest, and
Mm-hmm.
I headed to California when I was a kid, and I went right to work in the industry as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked at Warner Brothers and Fox, and bounced around all the networks and the studios.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's the only way you can learn the business is
Mm-hmm.
to start basically at the bottom and take the grunt work and watch what other people do and how they learn, and you grow from there.
Yeah, the serious part of, filmmaking. I've been interviewing like young filmmakers, and they tell you like it's not really easy. It's hard to get sponsorships. It's hard to get support. How about you? How is your experience as a filmmaker? Was it easy for you? Did you get sponsorships right away? How did you go through?
No, actually, I got very lucky. I was doing a play. I met Ronald Reagan through the play. Him and his wife happened to stop
Uh,
by. We chatted afterwards, and he told me, like a lot of people do, the old saying, if you're in the neighborhood, stop by and say
yeah.
hello.
Uh,
He meant it. He gave me a card and said, give me a call.
mm-hmm,
And he was a fairly well-known star at the time. So
mm-hmm,
I hesitated doing it, and I thought maybe it was a joke. He gave me the wrong number, but I
mm-hmm,
called it anyway, and it was him. He read one of my scripts because I was
mm-hmm,
writing at the time. I've been writing most of my life,
mm-hmm,
and he read the script. He loved it, and he said, "Who's represents you?" And I said, "I don't have an agent." And he said, "Well, I'm going to take care of that." So he introduced me to his agent.
mm-hmm.
They represented me, and that's how I sold my first screenplay. Was through that agency, and that kind
That
of got
is
me started. So was it easy? No. The business is not easy. Whether you're an actor, whether you're a writer, director, producer, whatever that you have to start somewhere. I don't
right.
discourage anyone from trying,
Mm,
but it's slow. If you're going to become a producer, learn the trade a little bit, learn what you're doing before you set out to do it. If you haven't gone to college and you don't have, an education of filmmaking behind you, then you need to work on a few projects and
right.
do the grunt work, carry the cables, do whatever it takes to
Mm,
get around the filmmakers. You kind of make your own path. Is it hard? Yeah, it's really hard, and it's not easy to, hook up with the right company.
mm,
You could work for 12 people and you don't like any of them, and nothing ever happens, and then bang, you meet somebody and they say, "I saw you on blah blah blah. Come on over," and they put you to work. Um, so weird stuff like that happens all the time in the business. And I guess that's why we love the business. The people that are in it and have been in it all their life. I have friends that I haven't talked to in maybe 10 years, and they'll call me on the phone when they get in town, and we'll go have lunch or whatever. And it's like we talked yesterday, and we haven't seen each other in years. So that's part of that business. It's a culture
Yeah,
that we have that once it gets in your blood, it stays there, and
it stays there. Yeah.
you
And
just
I
have
believe
to,
in a saying that your network is your net worth,
yeah, that's true, very true. And you have to keep
especially in
in touch with,
filmmaking. Yes.
yeah. It's not easy, and it's changed. The business has changed dramatically from when I started. When I started, we had cameras and we shot on film.
Yeah.
We edited on editing bays.
Mm,
Uh, then we went to I remember Francis Coppola
mm,
uh, experimenting with videotape,
mm,
and so I shot the photographer on videotape.
mm,
Probably one of the first indie guys to try and do that. It was
mm, mm,
pain to try because we had very little editorial knowledge back then. We edited the film on VHS,
mm,
which unfortunately deteriorates over a period of time. It's not like film. So you learn as you go along. But what I did learn with that was how to do unique camera shots with, and videotape changed everything because you could shoot over and over again
mm,
very inexpensively in
mm,
comparison to,
mm,
use it on film. When we did Quigley, for example,
mm,
um, we isolated the dogs and did all the
mm,
dog shooting and
mm,
all the dog stunts
mm,
separately.
mm,
You could shoot many, many times over and over again, quite
mm,
inexpensive. It was a little cassette
mm,
videotape.
mm.
Um, and
Cassette.
that
Oh my goodness, I still remember that.
it
Cassette
changed,
videotape.
it
Yeah.
changed how you can do things because in film, you
Mm,
couldn't do that. You couldn't just
mm.
keep shooting a dog over and over because it
Right,
was very,
right,
very
right,
expensive.
right.
Uh,
Mm,
then it changed. Obviously, now everything is on video,
mm.
and the cameras are just wonderful today compared to what
Yes.
we
Mm.
used to have these big monsters with huge lighting. When you lit a set, it was like lighting up the block, and
Yeah.
now you can do very little lighting with incredible lenses and get crystal clear
Crystal clear.
video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the
Wonderful.
business has changed, and I've
Mm.
been a big part of that, which is fun.
Well, but I'm so happy that you're still here and you're still trying to keep up with the changes in the film industry.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, once you start in the business, if you've been around it a long time, I came in as a writer, as an actor to start with, but I was a writer first, uh, and I became a producer. It's kind of funny how I directed my directing thing. I took over a picture where the director was a drunk and he didn't show up,
Mm,
and I was an actor in the film,
mm.
and all of a sudden we don't have a director, and the producing company said, "Well, we're going to shut down." I said, "Why? "Oh, we don't have a director." And I said, "Well, if that bowhead could do it, I can do it." He
Yes.
he said, "We'll
Yes.
give you 2 days, and if
Mm.
not, we're done." And then
Yeah.
I started directing. I had a lot of fun, and they did too. We finished the film, and fortunately, it made money.
What film was that?
Called Beta Beta. I
Mhm.
don't know if you can find a copy of that anymore. It's kind of disappeared. It was a comedy.
Mm.
Um, it's kind of one of them silly. Back in the 70s, a lot of silly films were made. Uh, you either did a motorcycle movie or you did a comedy, one or the other.
Do
And
you do you contribute to YouTube channels for free? We do have a YouTube channel, and we are, looking for contributors who would like to contribute or promote whatever it is that they have. Um, just put them all together in our YouTube channel called Wow You TV.
uh, most of the films I've done are all in distributors' hands. So the
I
distributor,
see.
I don't have anything that's on an independent basis that's just sitting there.
Mm.
Uh, all of what I did either was released by a studio, by a network, or now is in streaming, but they're handled by distributors because
Yeah.
rough to sell a film if you don't have a distributor.
You're
So
right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. That's what I've heard. Like even the indie movie makers, they do have distributors.
yeah, without a distributor, you can't go anywhere. You really have to have somebody because filmmakers, they know filmmaking, they don't know
Mm.
distribution, and the
Yeah,
distribution
yeah.
side of things is like day and night.
It's
They're
like
two.
the marketing and the sales, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if you
You're
don't
right.
have friends and contacts in distribution, you can't sell your picture. So you
Correct,
need that
correct.
person that has those contacts, and
Mm.
most filmmakers don't have those contacts.
Mm. All right. What's the most awkward thing you've witnessed a celebrity say or do in public?
Well, let's see. There's a whole lot of things that are funny. Uh, Shelley Long, when we were shooting The Adventures of Ragtime, she had an audience. We had an audience that was watching the film,
Mm.
and she used to run as fast as any woman I've ever seen with high heels on. And
Mm.
a woman in the audience laughed and said, "Well, anybody can do that." And Shelley took her heels off, walked over and handed them to the lady and said,
Mm.
"Show me how you'd run in your heels." The
Mm.
lady didn't get 3 feet and kind of fell on her nose. And
Okay.
Shelley laughed, helped her up, and says, that's just something you learn as you go along.
Yes,
But it was
yes.
very, very funny. She's a
Yeah.
very delightful lady to
Yeah,
work
yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah. All right. Um, so if you could have one celebrity superpower, what would it be and why?
If I had a superpower, if I was a Francis Ford Coppola or somebody like that, or Steven Spielberg, I'd probably pick one of my favorite projects and make a very large movie with it. I haven't had that luxury yet. I've done a lot of things, but I haven't had that mega hit, and I'd kind of like to do that once.
Mm,
So if I had the
yes.
choice and the option, that's what I'd do.
Yes, you can do that.
I'm still trying.
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. If you could have one celebrity superpower, what would it be and why? You already said you would like to be Steven Spielberg. Yeah.
great example. He's a very nice man. He's done incredible films,
Mm,
uh, and he's got a gift. Uh, and that gift is kind of a strange thing because what happened with Stephen, very few people get that opportunity. He
mm,
was making Jaws
mm.
and got himself in trouble. He was a
Yes.
young man,
Yeah,
got
yeah,
in,
yeah.
went over budget, but he was very good, and
Yeah.
he had a support team behind him, which is
Yeah.
we were talking about earlier. And he said they were ready to pull the plug on that,
Mm,
and because he went considerably over budget, but he
mm,
knew what he was doing, and it was a studio picture, and
mm,
he didn't do it deliberately. He just was doing it artistically,
mm,
uh, but they didn't give him enough money to do what he wanted to do.
mm,
And so when he got over budget, they sat down and they were going to pull the plug and fire him.
mm,
And somebody in his network talked him
mm,
into, no, don't do that. The picture looks pretty good.
mm,
And so and we all know what it turned out to be.
mm,
And so he got that kind of a break, sort of
mm,
like what Sylvester Stallone did when he made
mm,
Rocky.
mm,
Um, he made Rocky. Uh, there was no money. He was living in an apartment over a garage.
mm,
He gave up everything to make that movie. And the funny
mm,
thing is, they offered him, I think it was $300,000 for the screenplay. And in those days, $300,000, that's like $3 million today.
mm,
Uh, and he turned it down. He said, "No, I want to
mm,
star in it." And so he was very determined to become, he thought he could do it, and everybody else thought he was crazy because he had
mm,
this weird voice and this, weird attitude. Um, little did, but he kept saying, his support team kept saying, "You've got just that right look. You got that great voice. You got all." So they kept encouraging him to not give up the ship. So he stuck his guns, and the two producers that ended up putting the picture together, they ended up borrowing on their house to get that movie made. And you
mm,
could smell it. I remember going to the video. I was in the audience when before they added the music
mm,
and watching the raw cut of the film. You knew it was going to be a hit just
mm.
watching it. and
Just
that's
the
before
words
any of the
alone.
sound effects were put on it.
Wow.
So that's part of
You
the,
should, yeah.
when
I'm
you
sure you can, yeah.
look back on some of the people that have become huge stars,
Mm,
uh, it didn't fall out of the sky for them. They had to
mm,
work for it. Spielberg's a great example because he was in trouble, and
mm,
yet he had a support team, and he
mm,
stuck to his guns,
mm,
convinced the studio to say, "Okay, go ahead, we'll give you a few more weeks."
mm.
Look how Jaws turned out. The
Yeah. Oh,
rest is,
wow.
and
Mm,
then he had his magic happen because he had a hit, and
mm,
now he could do whatever he wanted to do, and he's done some magnificent stuff.
mm.
Um, Sylvester Stallone, the same thing. He
Uh-huh.
got a break, got a chance, but there's a lot of people that try this, and they try to use it as an example and say, "Well, if he did it, I can do it." But they don't take the serious part of what he did.
Mm,
Sly had to write a lot of stuff. He did an
mm,
awful lot of stuff to make
mm,
that first movie and to write that script the way he wrote it, because he wrote the first script, and he stuck to his guns. And it's a tough decision to turn 300 grand down when you're starving and you're living on a garage apartment and the
mm,
world is very bleak and dark.
mm, mm.
He took a real good chance of a very big gamble, and it paid off.
It
The
paid
bottom.
off. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's what makes this business so much fun, is just
Yes, it
that kind
is.
of story. When you hear those kind of stories,
Inspiring stories.
like with Rock Hudson and me, Rock was a delightful man. A little backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I worked on the film 19 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and one day I was very late. I was one of the last people to leave the lot. And in
Mm-hmm.
those days, they had everybody that was a small roll that we parked in the very back of the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out to get my car, and I had four tires sliced. I
Mm-hmm.
had four tires, and I was stuck, and we were miles from anywhere, and no
Mm-hmm.
phones. That was before cell phones came along. And
Mm-hmm.
out of the blue comes this Cadillac convertible, and it's
Mm-hmm.
Rock Hudson. And he said,
Mm-hmm.
"What happened?" And I told him, and he said, "Stay right where you are." And he drove away, and I thought, "Oh, great."
Mm-hmm.
Movie star leaves me in the cold. I'm stuck out here in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And a half hour later, a truck pulls up with four tires.
Mm-hmm.
They put four tires on my car. And when the next day
Mm-hmm.
when I went to thank Rock, he said, "No, no, no, don't even bring that up to me." And I said, "Well, I got it." And he said, "Nope, don't even talk about it. It's called pay forward."
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what I did for you, I'm going to hope you do
Yeah.
for.
For others. Ah.
I didn't quite understand what he meant. I was embarrassed, and I kept thinking, God, how do I thank somebody like this for doing such a wonderful
Mm-hmm.
thing?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but since then, that was back in 67, 68. That's a long time ago, and I've tried to help an awful lot of people along the way,
Mm-hmm.
basically because of what he said to me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it was a gesture I couldn't believe that someone took out of his heart to do what he did.
Yeah.
So I've tried to do that same thing all the rest of my life too. When people need help, I try to reach out and do whatever I can for them.
It's refreshing to hear that from someone in the industry, in the filmmaking industry, because what we read on, from the papers and mass media, and we hear from mass media is that um, a film industry isn't where you need to meet real friends because it's just like politics, so to speak. But hearing this from you is so refreshing that in the film industry you still meet genuine people.
There are a lot of really nice people in the business. Yeah, we have our flakes. Every business has flakes. Every business. I don't care what you're
Mm,
in.
mm,
There are low lives and there are good lives. There are
mm,
people that are meant to be really good people, and there are meant to be bad people that take shortcuts. And
mm,
I don't know that it's just the movie business
mm.
itself has all bad people. We get a
Yeah.
bad we get a bad rap
Mm,
because there are a few guys in the business that they have a big mouth and they say the wrong thing or they take a political side when they shouldn't take one.
mm,
Uh, if they kept to themselves and just behaved and performed, they wouldn't have that bad rap. But things happen, and you can't monitor everybody. Everybody has an opinion, and they're entitled to an opinion. So sometimes, if you're a celebrity and you have a big audience, and you say the wrong thing,
Mm.
then everybody around you gets that same bad mark, even though they haven't said
Right.
anything bad. So
Mm.
it's well, you kind of have to watch what you say and what you do. It's
Mm.
you have to watch yourself basically.
Mm.
Um, there are some really very good people in our
Mm.
business, and
Mm.
that goes for the music business as well as the film industry.
Mm.
You know, so I'm happy with what we've done, and I've got an awful lot of friends. When you have friends in the business, they last a lifetime. I'm still friends with the production manager, for example, on my very first movie. That's 50 years ago,
Oh,
and
wow.
we're still friends.
Oh,
As a matter of
wow.
fact, I'm expecting a call from her this afternoon. Her and her husband are still one of my best friends in the business. So,
Mm.
uh,
Okay. Looks like everything is glittery. But one last question. What's the funniest mistake you've ever made on camera while performing?
funny. Oh, maybe dressing in the wrong costume and coming out on which I did a stage. Very
Uh-huh.
embarrassing. They
Uh-huh.
gave me they gave me the wardrobe, and they
Mm.
gave me the wrong wardrobe. I'm 6'5",
Uh.
and they gave me the wardrobe of a guy 5'6". And so when I put a pants
That's indeed
on, the pants
funny. Uh,
way short, and I didn't have time to change. So I came out on the stage, and everybody started laughing. It was a serious play, and they started laughing. And I was so embarrassed because I had these shorts. Well, they were pants, but they looked like shorts on.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to crawl in a hole and die, but we went on with the play. And
Yeah.
after
So, yeah, did it not bother you?
it was terrible, but it turned out to be okay.
Ah, okay. You were able to carry yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Somehow I got through it. They tell you once you get out there, the play goes on. You've heard that expression over and over. And if when you make a mistake, it's like missing a line or whatever. You just keep going. And I
Yeah,
had no
for
choice. It
yeah.
was
Well,
an
for the
audience.
business people who are with us or watching with us today, is there some are there some business opportunities from your company, from Destiny Worldwide Entertainment?
Destiny is a small company, so we only hire when we're in production because
Mm,
it's only four people in the company,
mm,
and we've been together for many years, and we develop. So when we go into production, then we hire, but we
mm,
don't really hire on the outside because when you develop, we're one of the few companies in Hollywood that develop from this ground up. We take an idea and develop it into a script.
mm,
Then we do a screenplay, and then
mm,
we market it or put it together or package it or
mm.
work with somebody else and bring in a co-production company. And that's when you bring in people. So it's you have to be. There's very few companies uh, like major companies like Netflix, for example, or
Yeah,
Amazon.
yeah, yeah.
They hire a lot of people.
Yes.
They're always looking for people, and they're always looking for young people. They're looking for young, fresh minds.
Right.
Uh, Small companies like ours are we're the company that makes the project that takes it to Netflix for it to be produced. So
Mm,
we're in a different fashion, if you would, or a section of the business. Um, yeah, we're not a big company. We don't have a lot of employees.
right, right.
You develop, it's a very delicate kind of a maneuver. We've got
Mm,
20 different projects, for example, that
mm,
we are in various stages of developing.
mm,
And they cover a wide range of genre. So we're looking for comedy, we're looking for action, we're looking for uh, the big extravaganza picture,
mm,
um, and they're all in various stages of development. So
mm,
uh, that's what we do.
mm. All right. Thank you so much for sharing with us your time and your experiences. I'm sure well, as you have enriched me, I'm sure that you have enriched our viewers, especially in this especially in the film industry, because especially for the young people, there are a lot of young people who would like to go into the film industry. So thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for sharing your time. Would you like to do you have some parting words to our audience?
My suggestion for anyone that's going to be in the business, if you're an actor, look at the local theaters, work as your
Mhm.
trade, get a
Mhm.
little polish on your gift before you try and go and put it in front of other people. If
Mhm.
you're a writer, director, producer, and you want to go into that field,
Mhm.
one, learn your trade as far as writing a script goes. Know a little bit about how to do it before you try and put a piece together. My advice to everyone is always start trying to get to work on a local project, whether it's a play in your neighborhood or if you're in an area where they're shooting a film, see if you
Mm.
can just become a helper. Even donate your time if you have it.
Right.
Work for free, but because it's the only way you can really learn
Yeah.
aside from going to film school. A lot of people aren't gifted enough or financially set enough to go to film school. So
Yeah,
my
right.
advice is work on whatever you can get a job doing, even
Mhm.
if it's free, if you can afford to work free. Uh,
Yes,
that's how you learn, you know.
correct. I so agree with you. And I remember what my drama teacher used to tell us. You're only as good as your last performance. So you better practice before you go on stage. Or like in connection to what you've said, you better do you better practice first, rehearse, prepare yourself, hone yourself before going out. Before going out. Yeah.
You don't have to have a zillion credits because that's not true. And don't let anyone tell you you have to have a lot of experience and blah, blah, blah.
Mm,
You make your own experience. Just go out and do it.
correct.
If you're a writer, write. Because the only way you can perfect your craft is to
But
put, put,
practice makes perfect.
practice. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah.
The
Oh, thank you.
world
Yeah.
is full of negative. Don't let negativity destroy your goal.
Thank you. Wow, that's so precious. It's so good to hear it from you. There you go.
Yeah.
Coming from an experienced filmmaker, don't be discouraged. Oh, wow. I
That's
think
about
that's
it.
a very good parting word. Don't, very good parting words from a very experienced filmmaker, William Byron Hillman. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. It's my
Appreciate it very much.
pleasure. And I feel good listening from you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much. Bye for now. Thank you for watching Crazy Talks with Wise People from Scotland. This is Angela Murta saying bye for now.